Hi guys, welcome back to the Ladylorians show. Today we're going to be talking about chapter 11 and we have a few more people with us today, so we'll get right into it. So we have Kath with us today and somebody else.
So hello everyone, I'm Kath. You may know me as Rexilorian on Twitter. So I've always been a Star Wars fan, but I really began to fixate on it in I want to say last August because we moved away from all my friends because my mom went to college and I went with her. And so I didn't have any friends. And I was like, I'm going to rewatch Star Wars. And I rewatched Star Wars. And then I bought everything Star Wars related I ever saw since then. And I even got a tattoo.
Couldn't imagine getting a Star Wars tattoo.
Who was that?
How embarrassing.
Hi, everyone.
Testosterone has entered the chat.
Don't worry, it's just a very slight amount with me. There's not much here. Hi, everyone.
Hello. And
Hello.
Who are you?
It's so good to see you. I am Michael. On the internet, I go by Rexin around. But honestly, one of the most defining parts about me is that I am also a Ladylorian.
Yeah, you are.
When we say there's 6.5 Ladylorians, Michael is our beloved half. And yes, it's official. We all have friendship bracelets. To those of you who are viewing on YouTube, here they are. Yes, they're leather bracelets and they have Ladylorians inscribed in Arabesh on them. They're pretty cool.
They're my prized possession.
Yeah, can't go anywhere without it.
Didn't you guys mention that somebody recognized somebody by a Ladylorian bracelet?
Oh, that was me. I was at work and somebody was like, do you know who like Rexin around is? And I was like, yeah, I do. And they're like, okay.
That's cool. So I think we should tell everybody how and why I'm here, because that's very random. I don't want people to think that I'm just hijacking the Ladylorians podcast to run it into the ground full speed. So I feel like they should know that I'm here with a purpose.
Going back to the beginning, Michael is here because one day we were on a Zoom. It was how long do you guys want to say? Like
15 years?
I think.
Yeah.
It was April 22nd. Or 20. I only know this because we became the Ladylorians on the 24th.
Wow.
So this was pre-Ladylorians era.
Well, I came up with it.
Zoom era.
I came up with it the night after we Zoomed Michael at 4:00 in the morning.
So yeah, I think somebody randomly shot me a message saying join our Zoom call, and I think you were Zooming. Weren't you Zooming with like Kylo's Got Cake or what's his name on?
Yeah. With him for a good 2 seconds. Dodge asked, "How much money do you make?" No.
Wait. Let me explain myself. Okay, everyone went silent because we were so scared, and I didn't want to like make him leave, so I was just like, "So, do you get paid on TikTok?" And he was like, "No," and I was like, "Okay."
Okay.
Yeah.
So then I was, I guess, like the backup to him. Once he left, you guys are like, all right, well, let's go get the second.
No.
You were actually first on our list. You were just second to respond.
Yeah, you just didn't answer for the longest. But
so I jumped in.
Ask people.
I jumped in. I met all of you. Not everybody was there the first time.
Yeah. So Michael comes on, and it's just Rose and I like having like our nightly girl time of just me and her. It's usually how it ends, is just Rose and me together. And like I'm minding my own business, looking at my phone, and I look up, and there's a third person in the Zoom. And Rose isn't even there. Like Rose has walked away, and I'm like, Rose, come back right now. Like you need to come back. And I'm like texting the chat, like, oh my god, guys, like this just happened. Like everyone come back, because Dodge had just went to sleep like 20 minutes earlier. Like,
rip.
Yeah, it was really an interesting night.
And I would like to say, I am a big fan of Rex Around. I followed you on Vine. Okay, I knew.
Oh, are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you. You were like literally the only person I followed on Vine. Literally.
I didn't know that.
Dodge and Michael go way back.
We go way back.
Apparently
You just
we
don't
do.
know
We're
it.
besties.
But I was the one that was like, we need to get Michael on this. And everyone was like, oh yeah, we need to get Michael on. And then I had to wake up at freaking 4 a.m. the next morning for school. So I went to bed, and literally 20 minutes after I went to bed, you joined, and I didn't see it. And I woke up, and there was like 50 messages in the group chat, and they're all like, Dodger's gonna kill us when she wakes up. And I still haven't forgiven myself for that.
I feel terrible, Dodge. I hope that this can make up for all of that. That's like years. That's years that you waited for this moment and you missed it by 20 minutes, and I'm so sorry. Also, I'm so sorry that I'm a defining moment. Like, yikes.
No. You're good. You're good.
We got to talk about The Mandalorian, right?
Yes.
Yes. Oh my
There's
gosh.
so much to break down in this episode. Oh my goodness.
Who of you
Queen.
have been Google searching Bo-Katan helmets to buy on Etsy since that episode aired?
Yeah. My
feel like I just
boyfriend
called
texted me
everyone out.
last night after finishing the episode, and he said, didn't Bo-Katan cosplay? And I was like, sure.
That's rad.
I've been searching for a Bo-Katan cosplay since the Clone Wars, so come on.
I told Janae, I was like, Janae, I think this might be your moment. This might be when
Yes.
you finally get into armor. Because how could you not? Bo-Katan was so perfectly transitioned from animation to real screen, and it just made me so excited and even more nervous for Ahsoka. But I'm getting ahead of ourselves, so I'll wait. I feel like you guys want to talk about the frogs. I've seen you tweet.
Yes.
You get the
We
frog
love
talk out of the way.
frogs.
I love Gekkoina.
Amphibia.
Amphibia, right? Yeah. Is
Yes.
that the name? Perfect.
Rose objects. She thinks that her name is Gekkoina, but we're
It's
currently
Amphibia, and then the husband is Amphibio. It's masculine.
Well, no, the husband is the Geico Gecko, first of all.
Obviously.
Oh, right. We did establish this. It is canon. And he was green, so it's
You
pretty
guys have-
legit.
I saw it coming before it even happened.
I saw it and I instantly thought lizard as well. I thought gecko, and then everybody else was saying frog, and I was like, I'm gonna be quiet about this because I think I'm on the wrong side of history.
I
'Cause it
know. I was like,
seems
look at
like-
the hands. The hands are gecko hands.
Okay,
Their
the
faces are
subtitles
gecko.
say frog lady though.
I know.
They're just
and
wrong.
that's why
They don't know they're.
that's why I kept
Din
my
does
hot
say
take to
frog
myself.
lady.
Well,
So-
okay. This is from like, his perspective. He knows all his languages, but let's be honest. How smart is he really? That is a
True.
gecko, and he just don't know it.
I can see that. I mean, the guy is in a cult. We've established that now by this episode. So it was not surprising if they never taught him about geckos.
Yeah, he probably hasn't been exposed to a lot. But like we talked about in earlier episodes, one of our favorite things about this series is how we're introduced to so many new peoples and so many new species in the Star Wars universe because we're going to a different planet every single episode. And to go to a water planet
On
for...
calamari.
Was this the first time in live action, or am I tripping?
I think this
This-
is the first live action showing of Mon Calamari.
I don't think
Yeah.
it was Mon Calamari.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Trask.
sure it was.
Trask is the planet.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
No, okay. I thought at the end of the episode he grunts Mon Calamari and then takes
Yeah,
off.
because that's the species that guy was.
Okay.
So the planet's Mon Cala and the species
Cala.
is Mon Calamari, and
Mhm.
they seem very stupid. Did I misunderstand those characters? Those Mon Cala all seemed so unaware.
Admiral
Look, I
Akbar
love-
is turning in his grave right now.
I love the Admiral. Half of my when I speak, half the time it comes out in Admiral Akbar's voice. So please understand that I love him, but I think that species is kind of dumb.
Yeah.
They are, but
Yeah,
it was cool to see them on a larger scale. And it was cool to see some new species as well, like our beloved frog people.
What do you think about the Quarren? How because we've only seen them as the bad guys in the Clone Wars, and they were kind of the bad guys in this to a degree too. Anybody have any take on the Quarren? They're pretty ugly.
I just can
I
only
thought of
think of
Pirates of the Caribbean when I saw them.
Me too. God, what's his name? The squid guy from that. Yeah, I was like, I
Squidward.
thought it was him. Yeah,
Yes.
Squidward. I just thought they were weird looking and edible.
Okay.
Why?
They were very nefarious. for them to try to take on a Mandalorian like that was pretty brave. And they were like stoked on the Beskar, like they had done this same sort of thing before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool how we've had a parallel in chapter 9 to like old westerns and like cowboy kind of feel, and then now we've had like a parallel to like pirates, you know, in Star Wars. I was like, ooh, space pirates, this is cool.
Super cool.
I thought they were really smart with pushing Baby Yoda in and like having Baby Yoda get eaten, because they knew that's how they would get Din in the water and be able to like kill him.
I'm just like, he jumped in that water and like in his brain was there no like, wow, I'm wearing all this Beskar, like it's gonna make me sink.
Right, I thought it was interesting. He used his jetpack to propel himself upwards. That was cool to see.
Yeah.
I didn't know it could be used in water. I was like, is like the water gonna go in and it's just over?
Yeah,
Wild.
where's the exhaust?
What were your thoughts when the first Mandalorian landed? Did anybody scream?
Oh,
Yes,
I
did.
squealed. I was watching it in my bed at like 4 a.m. and I didn't want to wake my roommate up, but internally I was screaming. Yeah.
I did that like quiet yell that you do where you're like, oh and then, like
Right.
sleep.
I was like pushing Janae. I was like, Janae. Like, because the first Bo-Katan's the first one that lands, and you can like briefly see her markings, and that was like that moment, like living in that moment was so cool. Of like, this is the first time we've seen this character, or for the most part, a Clone Wars character brought into live action that way. Have we seen? I'm gonna feel silly if it's already happened. Have we seen another one brought into live action?
I don't believe so. I'm not sure, but
I don't think so.
I thought it was really, really cool how they had the voice actress be the actress for her.
Oh my
That
gosh,
was
I know.
Imagine.
Ashley XD.
I know. I have some questions when we get to that part on your guys' opinions of that casting for
Yeah.
Ahsoka.
Oh, we have them.
There are plenty. But no, that was like super cool and such like a special like moment to get to see her in live action, especially like after watching Clone Wars and stuff, because I just watched Clone Wars for the first time like all the way through earlier in spring, before season 7. So like getting to experience all of that and then seeing her come into like my favorite show was so incredible.
It was cool right away to be able to like recognize female Mandalorians just by their armor. Like that made me so excited the second they landed, before we were even able to identify them, you know, as specific characters. I was so excited to see female Mandalorian representation.
Yeah, and I loved how they introduced them, because I feel like we're all very scared about the canon characters that are coming into live action, and I think they did a really good job in this episode, like giving us that little like fan snippet and like potential for something more to happen, but also like not ruin the plot of like Din and his child.
Exactly, I agree, because I'm like, when it first came out and they were talking, it was discussing, especially with Ahsoka, a lot of people were worried that it was just gonna be Clone Wars after, and then I think it was really good because no one hate on me, I haven't seen the Clone Wars yet. I watched like the OG Clone Wars as a kid, and then like I just after that I didn't watch it, but like it was really cool, especially like for people like, and like I've seen TikToks about it, like people who've not seen the like Clone Wars and stuff. It was still cool to like see new Mandalorians, especially like ones who aren't in a cult. So I thought that was just really cool. And once again, Sasha Banks, I'm free on Friday night. Hit me up anytime.
I think it was great how accepting of Din, despite the fact he's a child of the Watch, because I think it was nice that they were able to have empathy for his situation and they didn't write him off because of that, because they understand why he has the understanding of Mandalorian culture that he does. And, you know, they weren't quick to judge him because of that. And they still, you know, came to his side and, you know, defended him when he needed it. And I liked that.
I think the fact that, yeah, that they almost, it was almost like when he said that, have you ever been in a conversation with somebody and they kind of expose themselves on, like, let's just say you're in the conversation and they say something like, well, yeah. And that actually points to why the earth is flat. And you look at them and you're like, oh, they're there. Like, you sweet thing, maybe we can get you to where you need to be. But instead of like hating them and like embarrassing them, you do like you said, you feel empathy for them. And I really like that because it showed how strong Bo-Katan is, that she's much bigger than little clan drama or Mandalorian cult. She's focused on the entire planet and reuniting it and bringing it together and ruling it. And I think that just kind of shows you how different Din is. Din is like, I don't care about anything but getting this child to these sorcerers because that's what I was tasked to do. And I didn't mean to get mixed up in this, but now I'm stuck. And she's got this like whole noble take where she's like, look, you're Mandalorian. It goes way further beyond this. And so I think it kind of was just so beautifully done because not only does it make people want to go back and watch the Clone Wars and Rebels to learn who Bo-Katan was, but it sets a ground for like whatever they do in the future, people are going to be really invested in Bo-Katan, which was really cool.
How do we feel about that Darksaber tease at the end there when Bo-Katan was talking about needing something to reunite her planet and take her planet back?
We've seen that in both Rebels and Clone Wars now, that Darksaber belongs to who rules Mandalore. So they're definitely strengthening that canon. I completely agree. I have a question though for all of you. I would like to know your take on this because I saw a tweet today, I'm sure you did as well, about the armor. And that it's feminine looking.
Oh,
and
yeah.
To me, the fact. So, I'll just give you my quick rundown as a boy, and then I'm going to shut up and let you kind of teach me. Because the way I saw Bo-Katan when she first landed, I thought, wow, they sort of almost desexualized her, which I loved. Which was like, oh, she's a warrior. Like she had pants, and they looked like they were like those flight suit pants, like utility, like actually what a warrior would have. And I thought that was really cool because she almost wore tights in Clone Wars. And it was always kind of a little bit odd. Like the other Mandalorians were in these like really kind of heavy sort of like denim looking flight suits. And she was very like sleek and nimble. So seeing her kind of brought into more of this warrior look, I thought that was like a huge step in the right direction. And then I saw people on Twitter getting very upset. So I'd love to hear all of your take on that thing.
Well, a quick question for all those people out there. Have you ever tried to like put flat metal around your chest before? You can't just squeeze them in there. You actually have to like get
they need room.
Shape. You can't just like squeeze yourself into this flat boxy metal. Otherwise it's not comfortable and it's not, it's what's the word?
Restricting?
I don't know. My vocabulary is awful today, but it doesn't work. It wouldn't be comfortable and it wouldn't be good for fighting. And you need to be able to like, it needs to fit, and it fits.
I think that if, as a woman, you were offended by the chest plates on the female Mandalorians, then you're only contributing to the idea that, women's bodies and certain parts of women's bodies should be sexualized. Like you're just contributing to the sexualization of your own body if you think that them having shapely armor was offensive. There's nothing offensive about it. Like Kath said, it's meant to be functional and serve a purpose, and it's meant to give them comfort. And you can still be a strong female character and own your femininity. You don't need to act like a man and put yourself into a man's clothes and a man's shoes to be respected as a female character and to prove your strength. Like, I think that's ridiculous. So yeah, I was really confused as to why people were upset about that. Yeah, that's my take on it.
The word I was thinking of was counterproductive.
Mm-hmm.
Letting everyone know.
Okay, I'm glad you were all, because that's exactly how I felt the first time. I was like, what are you talking about? One, they made her like strong and powerful and fierce, and it felt accurate. So I suppose no matter what you do at this point, if you're Star Wars, you're gonna find people on Twitter who oppose you for it.
Yeah.
And I think then you know, if all of you feel the same way, then I think that says a lot about not only Star Wars's decisions, which seem good, but also the people who tend to just nitpick everything on social media.
Female characters shouldn't have to suppress their feminine qualities to be respected as strong or as fierce. And I think that Bo-Katan and Koska Reeves both were the perfect example of that. I mean, from the very beginning with the original trilogy, Leia Organa was the perfect example of that. Like, let's take it all the way back to the beginning. I mean, there's a badass female character who is strong and speaks up for herself, who fights and is very physical and stands her ground, but, you know, she doesn't try to hide the fact that she's a woman. She's very proud of the fact that she's a woman and dresses and acts like it too. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You know, the two aren't mutually exclusive.
Yeah, I feel like Star Wars has really advanced a lot in the outfit department. Like even with Rey in the new series, I guess. But like I love her outfits. I feel like they're all like they show that you can still like be energetic and all this stuff. You don't have to have these outfits that are super feminine, you know, but also like, yeah, I think I didn't even think about that until I saw that tweet. And I was like, wow, people just trying to make the worst things out of, you know, this like amazing, like people don't even think about that until that one person tweets it. And then everyone's talking about it.
Right. And I think there's like this feeling of like wanting to be on the right side of history these days with everything, and everything's so politicized and divisive. And somebody says something that seems like a hot take or sounds like a hot take. And instantly, I think there's a lot of people that, out of not wanting to sound ignorant, jump and run and be like, oh, what a brilliant take. You're right. We shouldn't be thinking about this. And maybe they haven't necessarily thought the whole thing through, because all this conversation feels very well thought through. And I'm sure that the people in the writer's room and the costume department were also thinking all of this through as well and came to those conclusions. So I feel like perhaps there's also a little bit where people are very afraid of potentially being on the wrong side of history these days. And you kind of get takes like that, when in reality, I thought Bo-Katan looked cooler than she has ever looked. And she looked like she could kill.
Yeah.
Yeah, they looked real hot, in my opinion.
I agree with Michael on the fact that like people will see something on Twitter and will hop on it. Like when it comes to I don't know, canceling somebody, and you know, they don't know the whole story, and so they'll say something on Twitter, and then everyone would be like, oh, well, I don't want people to see me supporting them, because and they'll all hop on, and it'll just be a big hate train instead of being like trying to get a full understanding and context.
Unfortunately a few of us have dealt with that.
Well, and
the Ladylorians are unstoppable.
You showed why it's so important to surround yourself with a loving and like careful community, a community that's very aware of issues, but also isn't afraid to stand for things. And I think you know, if everybody was surrounding themselves with communities that really truly believed and understood that, like, hey, you are good, you're good, and if you misstep or if you say something wrong, we're not going to cancel you, we're going to give you an opportunity to explain yourself. And having a podcast is scary. I mean, welcome to a very scary world where everything you say is recorded and permanent. And I've done close to 100 of them, and there is, you know, over 100 hours of me talking, and all of you know that me talking can lead to very silly and outrageous things. And it's something I take very heavily, knowing that, like, hey, I could say something this year that is completely valid and correct, and within 3 years, all of society could shift on that idea, and I could have said something that's very incorrect. And I think, you know, this example of the armor is a perfect example of what happens when it kind of goes the wrong way. And so it's important, like I said, to surround yourself, and you know, the Ladylorians are a great example of that, of like, hey, you guys have each other's backs when things go down, because you know the character of who each of you are, and that's pretty cool.
Thank you.
We're definitely lucky to have each other, that's for sure.
I think because of the way we support each other when one of us gets attacked on social media is the reason why we like still stand so strong on social media. It's because it's like there's people to back up that person and be like, hey, this is the truth, here's like the full explanation, and people are like more willing to listen to other people's opinions than that person who is in trouble, or and I think it's that community, our community is, and like us building each other up and like keeping each other safe from people attacking is really what keeps us.
Yeah.
Keeps
I
us
mean,
good.
and also being able to, like, I guess hold each other accountable, but in a positive way too. Like having someone to say like, hey, that's like not cool, but like not doing it in a canceling way. Like,
Right.
I know that like we have a safe space where if I say something wrong, like no one in our group is like going to like use that against me. They're going to use it to make me a better person.
And I think something that's really cool and really unique about the Ladylorians generation of fans is that because we care so deeply for the creators behind the content that we love, the actors and actresses in Star Wars and things like that, like when we see them, take a stance that is potentially hurtful or politically incorrect, our generation is really quick to very gently and kindly try to help that person. But, recently there's been some, drama on Star Wars Twitter because when people our age, particularly ladies our age, were reaching out to an actor in the franchise, we were met with a lot of negativity and closed-mindedness and stuff. And it really just is, a generational thing, the way that we respond to that criticism. And if we respond to it as a helpful, constructive thing or as an attack. And I think that a lot of the people who came after this actress weren't attempting to come after her, but to educate her and to help her think of the fans that she was reaching out to and the platform that she had and how she was using it.
Right.
Question.
Oh yeah.
You can go, Michael.
You sure?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
I'll say what I need to after.
Okay, I'll be quick, I promise.
No, it's fine. Take your time.
So I study generations for my job. I do marketing, and so I market very heavily towards Gen Z. And so I wanted to learn everything I could about Gen Z. So part of what I did was I hired a professional TikToker from Oregon, and he moved down here, and I pay him to make TikToks, but I also pay him to honestly learn from him. And as silly as that sounds, I have learned so much from, his name is Liam.
Yes, we know.
He's my son.
Wait, what?
We love Liam.
Yeah.
Liam,
he's an
we love
angel.
him.
Do you have a history with Liam?
No.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately.
I
no.
wish
Would you like to have history with Liam?
I would.
So
We're slowly trying to take over Super 73. You don't know it yet, but it's gonna happen.
I'll send you guys his phone number after this. So in my journey to understand, like, okay, if I'm going to market to Gen Z, I really want to understand them so that I'm not marketing tone deaf. So I'm marketing to where you understand. And what I learned was this is the first generation in at least modern history that has been so connected to, I think, Ruth, you said it, the people who are behind the projects. You care more about the people running the companies and the actors playing the parts than you do about the necessarily the story or the product. You will spend way more money on something that is done better, like more with more humanity or more empathy. You'll buy from a creator or a vendor, or you support a creator or a vendor who does something and explains to you why they do it, and they show you every part of it. And there's a process of, I guess it's very I don't know, ethos, very empathetically backed companies that you support. And that makes total sense why these actors are getting canceled. And I think a lot of people look at this and they're like, oh, this Gen Z generation is so vicious and so controlling that they'll cancel anybody for any wrong statement. And it's just that that's not true. What it is that you're so concerned with who you're buying something from, whether you're buying a character they're playing or you're buying a product, that you really want to be able to like almost physically touch the person or the creator. And when they let you down, it is way more explosive than it would be with somebody like, you know, a Gen Xer who wants the cheapest thing that they can get from China. They don't care what went into it as long as they can afford it. So it makes total sense why these actors are coming into fire and they're playing these victims, because they've never been held to this accountability before. And what Gen Z is doing is setting up a system of accountability that nobody's ever seen. So it seems like it's vicious and maniacal, but it's the future, because you're building the standards that businesses and production companies are going to have to sell to. And you've told them that this is what you want. And people aren't meeting that criteria. And slowly, whether it's 5 years or 50 years, they're going to be forced out of the industry. And somebody who is way more thoughtfully minded will take their place. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yes, completely.
That's my whole breakdown.
I feel like Gen Z is also very good at like talking first. We always go into like the talking thing, like, why'd you post this? Like, what's your reason behind it? And then after like there's backlash from it, from the actor, actress, like it then hurts us, and then it's on. Yeah. Then the fan cams come in. And
yeah. And the reason is right there, this will be the last thing I say. The reason is because you are the first generation that grew up connected to each other. I didn't get the internet till I was like 13. I didn't get an iPhone till I was 19 or 20. I didn't get, it wasn't until 2013 that I really became connected to the rest of the world. And you've had that since you could type on a phone. And that's what's so cool. I mean, it's definitely scary because you have endless access to anything you want in the entire world, but it's also really cool.
I think Gen Z is smart in recognizing the power that we hold as consumers and as fans, because at the end of the day, we are who give someone their platform. And we get to decide who gets a platform. At the end of the day, we're the ones deciding that. And I think that because we're a more empathetic generation as a whole, we care for the generations that are coming behind us too. And we don't want to make the wrong people out to be role models for ourselves or for the children that are coming behind us, consuming Star Wars or, a certain genre of music or whatever it is.
Okay, so how do you all feel about Axe Woves?
I love him. The actor that plays him played a character in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is a show I like religiously watched. And I didn't click until after the episode. I was like, this guy looks familiar. And I was like, I love him. I want to know more about him. I saw something that like George Lucas like came up with the name, and I was just like, oh, imagine like being a character that like George Lucas was like, that's like,
right.
I guess.
I like the idea of George Lucas just being on set and being like, Axe Woves, that's your name. That's your name. No thought, just Axe Woves. What do you want to call this one? Call it the Mon Calamari. But
I think that your Glucas voice sounds a little bit like Kermit the Frog to me.
Yeah.
Wait. Are George Lucas and Kermit the Frog the same person?
They are.
Have they been together in one place?
I feel like they've been in the same room together. Let me look it up. You guys continue on about Axe.
He seemed really cool. I liked his accent. I thought that was neat.
I loved when he was like, they couldn't shoot the side of a bantha.
I was like, throw the shade.
You have a picture of George Lucas and Luke Skywalker colorized from 1977.
Oh my
Wow.
I think that's photoshopped.
To those of you who are choosing to stream us on Spotify or Apple, who does not have a visual component, Michael just shared with us a photo of Mark Hamill and Kermit the Frog. Lucas.
George Lucas. For you audio amigos. How cool was that?
Gosh.
How cool was that Corvus scene where they were just fighting through the hallways? Like that felt like Clone Wars.
I was so happy to see stormtroopers. Like I don't know why, but I mean, not happy, but just excited. I don't know, it just brings up old feelings, like, the
Nostalgia.
original trilogy and stuff. I get so excited.
I love
they
the
were-
nods to the original trilogy. I was so excited getting to see X-Wings last week. Like, just a reminder of the era of Star Wars that we're in. Like, the OG trilogy is my favorite, the girls know. So any
Mhm.
familiar faces or tropes we get to see makes me really happy.
I liked it when they were walking out with the the smoke, that part, because it's hot. But but I just thought it was like really cool, in general, because I don't know. It's like there's a lot of battle scenes and like Star Wars and stuff, but I like it when they do like stuff like that because I just like I don't know. It's edgy and cool and stuff, and it just
Yes,
like
stylize
keeps
it
it
up a little
fun.
bit. I
Yeah,
agree.
exactly.
Yeah.
I loved how Din had no part in that battle at all.
Literally, they
Literally
did
did
not-
not have to be there.
They did
have
not
to.
need him.
Wait, he threw the little
Okay,
He
did.
It was freaking a fireworks show because he was just like and then he's like
that was so brave. He got so lucky. Like, come on.
yeah.
That was
Oh my god! I was
crazy.
like, can he go one day without like causing harm to himself? Like, please, like,
And
sir.
They go from not being able to hit the side of the bantha to landing every single shot on his armor, and he's just like pinging
I
around.
know.
That was the
Pinball
most
machine.
impressive shots ever made by stormtroopers in history.
I
He
think
said,
so.
"This is shiny. I think I can hit it."
Oh my god.
They'll be point blank with people in other movies and will completely miss, but Din Djarin just attracts.
It was a good nod too, because I feel like there's so many times in Clone Wars that the Jedi or the clones like threw little droid poppers and they rolled to the battle droids' feet, and the battle droids just stood there and watched them. Do you remember all
Yeah.
those times where it was like, why didn't they kick them back? The same thing happened. Those little things landed at the stormtroopers' feet, and they acted like, oh, Din just dropped his I don't know what
Red
do we wanna call
blinky
those
things.
There he goes. Oh, he dropped his blinky things.
Lincoln
Like, it
or
just doesn't make
Tri-Scallionator.
They get distracted. It's shiny and it's blinky, and they're like, "Ooh."
they have no brain cells. And I
No.
love
None.
it.
It was
I love it.
sad.
I don't know if it was the ladies or my brother who brought up to me the contrast between Din's role in the prison break in chapter 6 and Din's role combatively in chapter 11.
Yeah.
Because in chapter 6, everyone else compared to Din, seems inadequate, and he's, taking center stage and calling all the shots. And last week's episode with Bo-Katan and the other Mandalorians, he was the one trailing behind them and taking orders from them. So, I mean, I just love how multidimensional Din's character is and how cooperative he is, and goal-oriented despite the role he has to play.
I have a quick question. So, and this may make me sound like a complete silly goose, but so is Beskar armor, do they have that too or no? Like, so where does that come from?
So as
Right.
far as, because I was wondering that too. So they have two kinds of armor. One is Durasteel and the other is Beskar.
Yeah.
It seems that anybody who's had armor passed down has Beskar armor, but then it
Okay.
seems that anybody who either got armor or needed to get new armor after the purge tends to have Durasteel armor because
Wait.
there's what's up?
Oh no, I was just gonna say because Bo-Katan, she says that how that armor has been passed down through generations.
So I think that's Beskar armor.
Okay.
So I think that there's two types, and it is interesting because like sometimes it's painted, sometimes it's not. Like it's weird that Din's is so shiny because it's making us all think that like Beskar has to be shiny.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the idea is also that like he doesn't necessarily have a crew, or like he's not a part of the Night Owl, so he doesn't have a color denoting what his armor would be. So I think that's why he leaves it blank. The watch, the Death Watch was always blue, but he's not with them anymore. So I think perhaps that's why it's not colored.
Wasn't well, like the blue on like their armor, that like made me think of the watch when I saw it.
I know,
because
it's pretty similar.
it's very similar. And didn't Bo-Katan kind of run with them for a little bit when Satine was in rule of Mandalore because she didn't agree with her sister?
Those were the two factions that split. The Night Owls were at one part united with Death Watch, but Death Watch wanted to go violence, and the Owls were less about that. They weren't pacifists, but they were more on Satine's side.
Mm-hmm. I miss Satine. I love her.
The queen, our blonde queen, the only blonde in Star Wars.
Rose's favorite thing to do is to send me depressing TikToks of Obi and Satine, and then I cry for about an hour every time because I love them with my whole chest.
Who's their rumored son? What's his name?
Corky.
So he's dead.
Yeah. So someone mentioned that.
No.
Yeah.
He has to be dead.
Well, because like Michael said, because when she mentions I'm the last of my line.
That was hurtful.
Why? I hadn't even thought about it.
My bad. I'm sorry.
I saw a tweet about it, but until I saw the tweet, I wasn't putting that together either. So.
Rip Obi-Wan and Satine's son. That's gone now.
I am the number one Corky Kenobi stan. Like, I love that kid, even though he's not confirmed.
Look, I think it's your fault that he's dead, and I don't want to thrust all of the blame on you, but if I can share my reasoning for that. The Corky stan part of Twitter was growing far too powerful for Lucasfilm to be able to combat. They accidentally wrote themselves into a corner with that character and those little nods. And so what did they have to do? Because you became too powerful, they had to kill him off.
The Ladylorians killed Corky Dude.
You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen.
And I do it again.
I do it again.
So should we bring up the elephant in the room, Miss Ahsoka Tano?
Oh yeah, let's talk about that.
Shall we?
Oh.
There is no calm segue into that. That's just pure rage.
Yeah. Michael, it sounded like you had some questions in mind to throw around about Ahsoka and her casting, etc.
Yeah.
We'll hand the mic to you.
Okay, thank you. I didn't want to jump in. Okay, so a couple things. Rosario Dawson, for all that she is and all that she isn't, we talked a little bit about like the off-screen issues, but I had this theory that perhaps there's a universe where Rosario plays the fighting side and the body of Ahsoka, and Ashley Eckstein plays the voice. And I actually said that on another roundtable podcast, and I got booed almost off of the whole episode because everybody was like, Rosario Dawson would never sign up for that. She's an A-list celebrity. She would never. And it was almost like there was it was like they didn't care at all about everything Ashley Eckstein had done. And they got very business with me. And it made me sad because, I feel like it was a little personal. Like Ahsoka, I mean, for better or worse, Ashley was Ahsoka through the drama in the beginning of the Clone Wars, through her being outcast as a character, to her rise to just meteoric fame within the fandom, to where she's one of the most popular characters of all time. Ashley did that. Like, I understand that there was writing and there's character designers, but who was, at the forefront of all of that was Ashley Eckstein, doing book signings and events and even dressing up as Ahsoka, I don't know why I try to say this word, championing. Is that right? It sounds weird.
Yeah.
Championing.
It sounds right.
Okay. Weird. Ahsoka at a time when not a lot of other people were. And so now you have Rosario Dawson being cast, and Ashley Eckstein made a post on social media that was deleted pretty quickly after, basically saying that she was in no way involved in The Mandalorian. And it kind of came off that she was very hurt and upset. Mm-hmm. It could be, they do this a lot where they send us down one road and then they fool us by saying, oh, we got you. Like, but do you think that there's any chance or any reason that she would be involved in this?
I'm praying.
My thing is, like, Ashley is probably the number one person who, like, loves their character. Like, I have never seen, like, an actor in Star Wars love their character like Ashley loves Ahsoka, and, like, she, like, is, like, I don't know. I definitely feel like it's going to be really hard to watch someone who's not her like to have Ahsoka open her mouth and it not be Ashley's voice.
Right.
Like that is so hard for me because Ahsoka is like definitely one of my favorite characters, and like I love her so much, and Ashley is such a big part of that for me. Like her, like I don't know, Izzy and I every time we go to Disney are like, I hope Ashley's at Disney World because she's always at Disney when we go. Like so.
Like the last time we went was like a few weeks ago, and Ashley was there, but she was there like on the days we weren't there. But she had gone and she had signed all like 100 of the Ahsoka like legacy savers that they just released,
and she like
showed up to like, some like event, and like she loves Ahsoka so much. Like I feel like there was something else going on. Like I feel like there's like we don't know the whole story. Like I don't think Dave Filoni would like be like Ahsoka's gonna be in Mando and not go to Ashley, be like Ashley like the first person. I think
like you're right.
There's something else there that we just don't know about.
I feel like a lot of women in the fandom are really disappointed by her lack of presence in The Mandalorian because Ashley just means a lot to the women in this fandom because she really validated, women in the Star Wars fandom. I mean, through her role and through the creation and establishment of her universe and things like that. And, making fan-related merchandise and content that was for women specifically, in a male-dominated fandom. Like, I mean, she's kind of like our queen, Like, Ashley means a lot to a lot of people, but especially to female fans and underrepresented fans. Because she did champion for us just as much as she championed for Ahsoka. And I also, Michael, I find it really ironic that people would be so repulsed by the idea of Rosario and Ashley teaming up to create Ahsoka's character, despite financial reasons and despite business disputes and things like that, because at the end of the day, like, women are supposed to support women. And if I were in Rosario's shoes, I would see how hard Ashley had worked to create Ahsoka as the character that she is and to build her from the ground up. And I would want to share credit with her because credit is due to Ashley. And I think it's just really sad that people on Twitter or elsewhere would want to put those two actresses against each other and immediately reject the idea of them working together.
Yeah, I also feel bad because when she first started Clone Wars, she got so much hate, but she stuck to it the whole time. She stayed with it. And now people absolutely love Ahsoka, and here's this opportunity for Ahsoka to come into this live action, this peak of Star Wars, like currently, like in current day, and she doesn't even get the opportunity, and it sucks because now everyone loves Ahsoka and she doesn't even get to be a part of it.
Yeah, and I also think like Ashley watching her like castmate, like Katie is Bo-Katan's voice actor and now actor, but like so getting to see Katie get to voice her and then become Bo-Katan is like, for Ashley, I can't even imagine like what that feels like to watch like somebody else get to do that, and then for your character they don't do that.
Can I make a hot take?
Absolutely.
That if it's right, I think this podcast will explode because people won't believe that I guessed it. And if it's wrong,
Good.
sorry for the comments. What if this whole thing has been one big misdirect? A good example would be they kept showing Sasha Banks in all the promo material.
Oh my gosh.
And so what if this Rosario Dawson thing, I mean, even the release that they accidentally put up too early on Instagram for Italy or something, the Disney Plus in Europe, or what if it is all a giant misdirect to get us off of the scent, because this is quite possibly the biggest secret, even bigger than the child, that Lucasfilm has tried to keep. I mean, honestly, this is the one thing I think Ahsoka is one of the most popular characters across the whole fandom. Clone Wars fans love her. Rebels fans love her. I could see a world where she is Ahsoka And Rosario Dawson is cast as perhaps another Jedi or somebody around her or the body of her. But I think Ashley will be included. And I'm going to sound pretty stupid if that's not true. But if it's not, I could see a universe where Ashley doesn't speak, where perhaps we see Ahsoka through a hologram, or we see her fighting from a distance. I could see her like dueling a couple of assassins or something. And then, Mando shows up and she dips out or something like that. And maybe they just put it off for a little bit till they figure out what they're going to do. But if she opens her mouth and it is not that Ahsoka voice, I just think Dave Filoni knows better than that. He knows better. Like, he's not an idiot.
Yeah. I mean, if you're wrong, like, whatever. I had a wrong guess last week because I definitely thought Sasha Banks was Sabine. So
Same.
What do you all think?
Yeah.
That would be great.
Ideally,
Great. The European Disney Plus stuff,
That's what.
information that was released in Germany or wherever, that's what's disheartening me at this point.
yeah, but didn't they all they did was post something that said Rosario Dawson's name? Like, it didn't say like anything about her. I'm pretty sure.
I think it said is like tap to play Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Oh.
But also, like,
They've lied to us before.
yes. They also, like, she just did an interview, like, when everything was, like, happening, and she, like, and someone mentioned Ahsoka, and she was trying to, like, she saw, like, someone asked it or whatever, and she couldn't even say Ahsoka's name properly. So that's what, like, makes me think, and this is after Mandalorian ended filming. So that's what makes me think that your theory about Ashley coming in and voicing it, I could see that.
Yeah, I don't.
So my inside scoops. I mean, we will see Ahsoka because a lot of people DM me things, being Rexin around, and unsolicited information from the set. And I normally keep it all very, very quiet because I'm a big fan of
legal agreements.
no NDAs.
No, they are.
Oh no, not today.
Yeah, right. And I would never sell anybody out, but
No.
there's been a lot of information that's been coming to my DMs that are like, okay, this could still work. There's been no confirmations of who's under the paint. So I'm holding hope. I'm holding hope. The fact that they've kept it this good of a secret that we don't really know what's going on, and we're potentially 2 episodes away. Like, I don't think we see her next week. Dave Filoni directs the next one after this, and I think that'll be the one that we see her. But it's so up in the air that it's like, okay, I feel like there's still a chance.
that would be really nice. And that is very interesting that people are just DMing you stuff that would totally break an NDA contract.
I want that.
But YOLO.
Yeah.
And that would be wonderful. I don't know. I would like to see Ashley get to live out and become the person she loves so dearly and like cherishes the character.
Okay, wait. Can we talk about how the comedy in the mid? I just want to talk about the Razor Crest taking a swim.
Oh my god.
Because I just, he went for a dive. Also the new like curse words we learned.
Dank Ferric.
Yeah, that.
You're gonna have to censor that one.
I know.
Oh, you guys, I in one of your podcasts recently, you said you were talking about like thank the maker. So droids say thank the maker, because for droids, their god is the maker, and people will always say thank the Force because their gods are the Force. Little fun fact, but thank the maker is about like
Din is a droid. The fanfics
I
is
was
a
having
droid.
like a deep, involved conversation about this with, people who I consider super knowledgeable, and we were even like, kind of disputing it and confused about where that came from. And I think a lot of people on Twitter are also confused, when Din said, may the Force be with you to the X-Wing pilots, because I think there's just a little bit of ambiguity regarding common people in Star Wars and their knowledge of the Jedi and the Force, and like who knows what's common knowledge, what is legend. And the Mandalorian is like kind of revealing a lot of that to us, and just a lot of the culture and vernacular of common people.
I love this. So I like absorb every single book that comes out, and it went into it on I think it was in the Aftermath trilogy. People in the galaxy are very aware of the Force. They're very aware that the Force is something that interacts on a daily basis, kind of like no matter what culture you go to, you'll hear about their God, because it's kind of like the one common thread of like this greater thing. But people don't know about the Jedi, or they know that they're sorcerers and they're evil because of what the Empire did. Basically, they erased the Jedi from existence, and they said there was these evil Force wielders who would manipulate the Force around them, and they made it very propaganda-like. But when Din said that to the New Republic, it's because the New Republic reinstated the old Jedi history, brought it back, and kind of made them like gods. And so it's kind of like pulling up next to next to a cop and being like, it's good to see you. Really appreciate the work you're doing. Like, and you've got weed in the glove compartment. And it's like, it was exactly what Din was doing, was he was like relating to them.
No, I agree.
On like a very annoying level where it was like, it's good to see you. Thanks for keeping us safe.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting to me.
I think it's really weird how everyone just kind of forgot about the Jedi in a sense, like, or like, not necessarily forgot, but people like, did their parents or, you know, whomever they came from not pass on the stories of Jedi like in positive light? Like, was that not?
I think history belongs to the victor. And the Empire was the victor for a long time. So I'm sure there were like whispers and kind of like Ezra's parents, they talked about the Jedi and the way it used to be. But then they, you know, they're targeted and they're attacked and they're killed. And so, example, like I built a whole company, and there's a lot of things that happened during the building of the company with people who are or are not still a part of the company. And you can kind of choose what version of history gets published in the articles, and you can choose what you do and don't talk about, and you can kind of change how history was by sharing certain parts or not sharing other parts. And I think that's what we're seeing here in Star Wars, is like, the Empire is really working hard. They had ISB agents chasing down people who were talking about the Jedi. So after 2 or 3 generations, it's gone, right? Like that is how I guess I've always perceived it.
To bring it back up, but what do you think Ahsoka is gonna like react to seeing this little child that looks like Yoda? Like, that's all I can think about is just her being like,
I'll be really confused.
Another one?
She's like, oh God.
How?
Oh no, not again. Is this one gonna expel me from the Jedi Order too?
I think Yoda and Ahsoka had a pretty positive relationship, didn't they? Like,
he kicked her out of their wizard club.
Yeah, but I just remember that scene in season 7 of the Clone Wars when Ahsoka wants to know what's going on with Anakin, and Mace is being like, "You're not like Jedi business only," and Yoda was kind of like, "I'm so sorry." Like,
yeah,
I apologize, like, you know,
my bad. I kind of just messed up a couple Jedi generations.
Do you think she's been communing with Yoda through the Force?
Isn't Yoda dead now?
Well, like
Force
before
ghost.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, Force ghosts. Yeah, that makes sense.
What
Like,
if we see
what's
Force
up?
Ghost Yoda?
That would be interesting.
Because we could. Do you think we see?
Overkill?
Do you think we see Luke Skywalker in any way?
I hope
No.
so. Number one Skywalker stand
Okay.
right here. Ruthie hopes so. Deep
Unpopular
fake, baby.
opinion,
Come on,
check.
give it.
Say it, Kath.
I really don't want them to bring in super popular characters like that into The Mandalorian. I think I love Mark Hamill. I love Luke Skywalker. I'm fangirl number 1, or maybe number 2 next to whomever. But I think they're bringing in a lot of favored characters, and I think bringing in Luke Skywalker would be kind of an overkill as for all that. I mean,
Yeah.
Maybe in a later season, like maybe at the very end of the series, we'll get some glimpse of Luke, even if it's
season
just
13.
as a what?
Yeah,
Season
13.
13 baby.
That would be great. But
Like,
I mean, at this point in time, I'm just excited to see some OG trilogy Luke representation in the Lego Christmas special. So that'll hold me over for a while, I think.
To bring back the Force Yoda thing, have y'all seen Megamind?
Yes.
I love Megamind.
No, okay.
Yes.
So the scene where he's introducing himself as Space Dad? Like, what if it's like that with Baby Yoda and Yoda just like, my son?
I have seen Megamind no less than 100 times.
What if Baby Yoda is a clone of Yoda?
I'm
Okay,
gonna get
why
so
Kenzie's
jealous.
idea like that.
so
He brings this up at the end
Guys.
of the episode.
guys, so at the end of Revenge of the Sith, when Yoda is fighting Palpatine, you notice that his robe falls off and hits the floor. That's what makes me think that Baby Yoda is a clone of Yoda,
Right.
because they would have taken his cloak and then made
Also,
a clone
it's-
of Yoda.
it's
But-
50 years since Revenge of the Sith, so
Exactly.
it actually makes a lot of sense.
It lines up.
And
That
last
is-
episode,
The
we were
stars
talking-
are aligning in my head right now.
Hold on, let me make sure that I got the number right.
However, it makes sense. However, it's not like the cloak is the one thing, because everyone's cloak always is there. Like Obi's cloak was there when he.
But no one wants Obi-Wan Kenobi. They want freaking Yoda.
I'm sorry,
know,
did you
I'm
guys
just
miss the
saying.
part
Excuse me,
where...
I want Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Did you miss the part where when Palpatine was fighting Yoda, he literally plucked a hair off of him and put it in his pocket? Am I the only one who saw that? He said,
I'm
"Hold on,
sorry.
let me just take this, okay, and back to fighting."
It is no
Oh
longer
my God.
somehow Palpatine returned. It's somehow Yoda has returned.
But we
Why
were
would you
talking-
say that line, Rose?
Revenge of the
Because it
Swamp
was
Man.
funny.
Ladylorians in the last episode or the first episode, we're talking about the doctor guy from
Yeah.
season 1
That
and how he
apparently
had,
nobody
the
else
Kaminoan, army
noticed
symbol.
this.
Yeah,
Get a
I'm
clone or
sorry I
something.
didn't notice it.
All
Where
of them
are
were like-
clones made?
So shocked, and they were like, "How did I not?" And I was like, "Oh, was I supposed to tell you? Because I noticed like in the first season."
Some
But
of
none
us
of
are
them knew.
stupid, Kenzie.
That would
I'm
make
sorry.
a lot of sense though. Like putting these pieces together,
I'm
Did
having
you
a
check the number?
revelation.
You okay, Dodge?
This
Is
This
Dodge ever okay?
this is-
I feel like Dodge is just
No.
constantly
This is
in a state
making
of
so much
distress.
sense. When you said the 50 years thing, I just
Yeah.
hold up.
Yeah.
Kid's gonna get
Yeah.
so
It-
jealous
It is
though.
one of my favorite theories.
Kill Bill
If-
Sirens.
If Ghost Yoda comes back and starts talking to Baby Yoda, Din's gonna be pissed. He's gonna be like, your father
That is
decides
my
to show
son.
up once
This
I
is-
come into the picture.
This is the first time that I've thought about the fact that I don't know why this is the first time I thought about it, but that Din is is the child's dad. However, the child is older than him. I think
I was
that was
gonna
it.
say my favorite thing that's brought up a lot is Din's gonna die before Baby Yoda.
It's sad.
And podcast. I'm out. Good night.
So to wrap it's interesting because they say he's 50, and Yoda said he was training Jedi since he was 200. And so within the next 150 years, Baby Yoda would mature enough to be able to train Jedi. So this 50-year gap of his adolescence, I think, is going to quickly end. And I think what happens is there's like rapid maturity that happens right after, probably like around, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 years. So I think that there's a possibility that somewhere in this season, we can start to see a more mature Baby Yoda that perhaps speaks.
If he's
What do you think
I
Baby
swear to
Yoda's first
God.
word's going to be?
Okay. Because I asked this
Dude.
question the first episode, and all of them were like, "He's not gonna talk in this season," and I'm like, "No, I think we're gonna hear his first word."
Okay, they say that we're gonna know his name at the end of the season. And
That's
second of
really
all, people I saw a TikTok
Bean.
on this, but they were talking about how Baby Yoda is babbling, and he didn't babble at all in the first season. So that could be true.
I mean, it
wow.
only makes sense
He's getting his growth spurt.
because if you do it like, so what, he's like a little toddler right now. If you did that in like 50, 50, 50, by the time he's 200, he's 5 or 6. So that doesn't make sense for a 5 or 6 year old to be training Jedi. So I think that we're going to see like quick growth here within the next couple of seasons. I don't mean like, teenage Yoda running around angsty, but perhaps,
it's
more
not a
conversation.
phase, Dad.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
feel like it's
gosh.
gonna be awkward to see like pubescent baby Yoda. Like, I mean,
In
he's
Mandalorian
so,
armor.
he's so cute right now. Like, I don't know even want to think about what he's gonna look like. In I'm content with the look right now.
I want to say 2 things. His name's gonna be Bean. I swear to God, it will be Bean if I have anything to say about it. I talked to
Don't.
Disney executives about this. It's happening, guys.
Okay.
Second, his first words are gonna be "I love Dinjamin Djarin," and that's just my opinion.
That is my favorite thing, is that the internet has just collectively decided that Din is short for Dinjamin.
Okay, thank you so much to everybody for watching and listening to this episode of the Ladylorians podcast. Ladylorians, thank you so much for being such wonderful hosts to me while I was here. I learned, I laughed, I cried. It will be memories that I cherish until I die. If you do like what the Ladylorians are doing, which you're stupid if you don't, you should subscribe to them on YouTube. Follow them on Spotify or the Apple Podcast app, or I guess wherever podcasts are. Find them on Twitter. There's like 1,400 of them, so just track them down one by one. And if you like what I do, you can always find me pretty much everywhere at this point. So I don't know, just open a browser and I'll probably have some posts on that browser.
Bye, guys.
Rexin_round.
Bye.
Bye.
Night, day, evening.
Bye-bye,
wherever.
everybody.
Bye, y'all.
This is the way.
I love you guys.
May the force
Bye.
be with you.